Hi, welcome back to my channel. I am Lisa Teaching One Love. I'm so happy and grateful to be with you. Um, when I posted my last video about paradigms on Facebook, there was one woman who told me it's impossible. She wrote me, and I said, "What's impossible?" And she said, "Everything is impossible." And then she wrote me this. It's the longest list I've ever read about all the things that she believes are impossible. And it was everything from having a child, meeting the love of their life, having support, cleaning her house, having an airplane picking her up at her front door and taking her across the Atlantic Ocean in 2 hours. And excuse me, my neighbor's dog is alone and howling for the pack. Anyhow, and she wrote a list of it's impossible to be healthy, and it's impossible was the longest list I've ever seen, and I appreciate it. I hear it, and I think that sometimes we are in this situation. Maybe we don't have all those ideas and that long of a list, but it doesn't matter. Just acknowledge how fearful we are. I think it's fear of succeeding, maybe fear of other things. It doesn't really matter. What reminded me is that anything is possible. Practically anything. Anything. And alright, if you want to have your back if you chopped your leg off because she had some of those physical conditions that might be irreversible. If you chop off a tree, I mean, you can't get that tree back, but you can still get more of it. I mean, when they burnt down a big forest was burnt down in America, some big nature area that was really old, and everybody was shocked, and it was like, oh, it's so terrible, it's horrible, and all this forest is lost, and it was big drama. But afterwards, when the forest grew back, it was actually more species that had been extinct for hundreds of years returned, and it flourished even more. So sometimes losing something and not being able to have something can give you more. But I think also too, if you look at all these impossible ideas, that's what the paradigms tells us when we want something. They tell us, nope, you cannot do this. So why don't you crawl back into your hole? But if we look at just the Wright brothers, for instance, the guys who made it possible for us to fly with airplanes. The government had invested hundreds, thousands of millions, even dollars in research and how to do it and experimenting here and there. And they told the Wright brothers it can't be done. But they did it anyway because they were decisive, they were persistent, they had the picture in their mind. They were gonna make the airplane fly. And if we go back 100 years ago and tell the people how we live today, they would call us insane because they didn't believe it was possible. I mean, if we would go back, yeah, 100 years and tell them about illumination, about internet, and about the phones, and about the cars, and about the airplanes, and they couldn't, they wouldn't believe us. They wouldn't believe us. I have a friend here in Crete. When he was 18 years old, and he's not that old, he's maybe 65 now. When he was 18 years old, so that should be like 40 something years ago, maybe 45. When he came to Heraklion, the big town, for the first time, because he comes from a village, and he saw illumination, he saw a light, you know. And in the villages, they still had candles and oil lamps and stuff like that. And he was amazed because he heard about it, but he he couldn't understand it and he didn't believe it. But when he came, 18 years old, to town, to Irakli, the big town, and saw lights and light bulbs and how it worked, and he was stunned. He was amazed. So imagine if we go back 100 years and tell them, well, we can fly in that one, and up there we can just take this little phone and we can call a relative wherever we want on the planet, really. We can even speak to each other like we talk now. I can go live here and anyone all over can see me. They would have told us that's not possible. Some of the scientists have been locked up in mental hospitals, mental institutions, when they came up with ideas what they wanted to create and invent. Nothing is impossible, really. There are some limitations, but maybe if we believe we can have our leg back, what do I know? If you believe it enough, if you have it in your head, if you really focus on that, what do I know? Now we say it's impossible, but maybe 100 years from now it is possible. I don't know. But to keep our minds open, just like a little corner. Maybe it's possible for you to have your dream. Maybe it's possible for you to do that you think you cannot do because you don't have the money and you don't have the time and you don't have the education and you don't have this and you're too old and you're too fat and you're too lazy and you're too this, and look at the world and look how it is. We live from the outside instead of from the inside. Anything is possible. So the video today, I wanted just to encourage you and inspire you all to keep this corner of your mind open for all the possibilities there is, because anything is possible for you. Maybe not exactly the way you want it. I'm sure you will be surprised on the road, on the way towards whatever it is that you want. But it is possible as long as you keep the focus on that. So many people that I know, I compare it with a flower. It's like you have one flower that you don't like and you have one flower that you like. And we spend so much time talking about, looking at, spending time with the flower that we don't want. So the one we do want, it dies. It literally dies because we don't give it water or anything. It's in the darkness and it dies, it suffocates. And this one that we don't want, oh, we nurture it and look at this and da 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 da. And because the energies that is required to make this one grow is not the same as the ones required to make this one grow, because they're on different frequencies. So if we could just not digging our heels into what we don't want and what we don't like, and this is shit and this is that, and do our complaining, and just focus on what do I want? What do I want? I want this. And if you really, really do it, if I really do it, anyone who does it makes miracles. And that's the truth. So ask, believe, receive. All my love to you.